another episode of the Voiceover Gurus podcast. Real talk about the voiceover industry.
I am gonna shut off everything. I cannot be reached. If you are dying, you. Oh, I should say that. Hi, how's everyone doing?
You do care if people are dying. I know you do. I do.
I do. You died, you better hold on.
Welcome to another episode of the Voiceover Gurus podcast. I'm Linda Bruno. Today, I am hanging out with someone who has been in the animation and voiceover game for decades. And you have worked on some pretty impressive shows like The Simpsons, King of the Hill, X-Men Evolution, and you coach VO talent all over the world. You've got this amazing energy, killer ear for auditions, a very special approach, and also a passion for helping actors to, make those auditions different. So please welcome Everett Oliver. Hello.
Oh, sorry, that's the crowd. I just thought it was something.
That was a good intro.
Ooh, yeah.
That was a good intro, yeah.
Thank you for the introduction. Yeah.
So you're going to be coaching a class for us, which is awesome, on September 24th. And your process is definitely different and unique and unusual. And your energy is insane. And I would say that, I have not taken a class with you, but I've seen you coach and I've seen you teach. And for me, being in New York, I would feel like taking a class with you is really something that would push me to a level that to take me out of my comfort zone. Big time, which can be scary. And so tell me your approach. Tell me where your head is at when you're coaching.
Every person is different. What I normally do is I call it a tap into. I have an intuition, a strong intuition. I'll go that way, which has been developed. And so I study actors. Actors will say certain things to me that will stick to me. And I'll use those experiences and throw it back at them. So that way it's familiar to them. Mm-hmm. If I know them, if I really know them. One of the things that I do is I look at their website. I listen to the demos and, try to get a little bit of information as possible. Then I send scripts. I go ahead and send the scripts to the actors. The actors should send me just one take. I give notes, and then I do a redirect. Mm-hmm. And what I'm trying to do, or what I do is, like you said, in leveling up your game, is I look at markets. I'm a markets person. Mm-hmm. And so I've worked with union talent, and I know the competitiveness of the union talent. Right. And though if you're on the East Coast, you're still competing against everyone around the whole world because they're sending stuff from Canada, the UK is getting the auditions, Mexico's getting the auditions, Australia's getting those auditions. So I'm listening for who you are. I'm listening for solid acting. I'm listening for improv. I'm listening that everybody who's been doing this longer than I've been breathing, they all read the same thing, meaning they read it as one note. Mm-hmm. And I try to get people to get them out of the one note. That's what's going to make them different. Mm-hmm. And it just becomes a habit to everybody. They get a piece of copy. They're not really studying the copy. Mm-hmm. They are trying to just get through it. And sometimes it's going to take you 3, 4, 5, 6 times to do this audition. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. To really sink your teeth in. Then I have the on-camera actors who has this whole different acting style, which, they're used to a certain way of acting this way for on-camera. And I'm like, you're an on-camera actor, you're a theater actor. I can hear the way you articulate. I can hear you're you're not moving your body, or you think you're on camera. You give the certain looks. So it's all of these factors that I'm paying attention to. I'm zooming in into the actor, and I can just pull a performance. And then I'm also I'm tapping into them, and I'm like, tell me about your mom, or tell me about your grandmother. And then they kind of look at me. Don't look at me. Don't look me. I'm just asking you a question. I'm in your head now. Tell me about the emotionals that you had, whether it be good or bad, depending on what the character is. And then I can go ahead and I can pull it out of them. That's what I do.
So, yeah, there's nothing formulaic about this at all.
No, not at all. I've developed this enough where I can go back to one of my students when I was a booth director. I worked at one of the talent agencies in LA. And then we have an ongoing joke. And the ongoing joke is that one of my actresses was pregnant. And she sat down. We auditioned for something, but she was looking weird, looking funny. Her face, I could tell by her facial expression. And so we did about 5 auditions. And she said, I just want to sit down. I just want to sit down and watch you edit. I'm like, what? I didn't have anybody after. Okay, you could sit, whatever. And then I think she was about to go deliver.
Oh my God.
And I heard something. I'll leave it as that.
Oh no.
But she walked off and she delivered. And then hours later, the agent said to me, oh, she delivered. And I said, oh, that's what that pop was. And everybody was like, you heard it? So me and her, I'm in tune. I'm very in tune with, depending on the day.
Yeah.
That I can, and it might not be every actor. You have to be able to be vulnerable.
Yes. For
me to really connect to you. If you tighten up, I can't connect to you because it's a block. And that's when I go into depth with, you have an emotional block. There's something that you've been triggered by. And I can tell by actors when they can't connect to certain things or they're finding it difficult. And I'm like, that's not an animation, especially if you're going to be with an ensemble, you got to be able to play and listen and be able to give them multiple different takes in a timely face manner. I'm not just going after you, just this is a time that you don't need to be worried about anything else that's going on. But people get stuck in their head.
Right.
And people block themselves. So that's what I do when I'm working with a student. I get to know the student because people just tell me random stuff. I just be paying attention. People just think I'm not paying attention. I'm like,
You're listening.
And I could be sitting up here doing something else, blah, blah, but I'm processing, and I could tell by, body language, and then they get really vulnerable. And then, everybody's got my telephone number, so they're going to call me 7 days a week about, blah, blah, blah. I'm just lucky enough if I put their number, in my phone, because sometimes now they put their numbers on the phone. I'm like, who is this?
Yeah.
So that's just my insaneness.
Yeah, you're very approachable and very helpful for actors.
Yeah, I mean, I am. I mean, actors really don't bother me unless they're like stressing me out. But, the thing is, this is a really hard profession now. And, with things going on, I'm trying to have the actor, and what I do is make them fit, because it's like people come to me, oh, I can't get an agent. Or I got an agent, I've been here for like 99 years. I'm like, why are you still there? I'm not understanding. That's just crazy to me that you've been with the same agent, or it's just, or I've coached with, the big timers and blah, blah, blah. And I go, that wasn't the right fit for you, right? And then they look at you with a deer in a headlight. Like, so just because you've coached with somebody who's top notch, who you think is top notch, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the right fit for you.
Yeah.
It's like buying shoes. It's like buying clothes. It's the same thing with groceries. If you look at it as what you apply to your life, then you'll go, oh, it makes sense. So all I'm doing is just, I'm the whisperer. They call me the ghost whisperer, which is funny. I'm the one that gives to give them the sense of, oh, you're absolutely right. And I'm like, true. I mean, listen, you can look at my face and tell me, I don't know what to lie about. I'm like, are we for real? Are we really for real? So that's what I do with the actors. I'm very sarcastic. I'm from New York, which is, a whammy.
Yeah.
Because it's funny because I'm an old New Yorker. And so I think like an old New Yorker. And I'm like, are we for real? I'm like, the subway, I remember the old turnstiles. You know what I'm saying? The graffiti, the real 42nd Street. Let's be clear.
Right. Pre-Disney.
But I lived in LA. I'm going on 31 years living here in LA. So I understand the dynamics of people from the East Coast versus people coming to the West Coast. And some people on the East, I'm like, nope. And then what's that mean, Everett? That means you're going to have a difficult time because West Coast people act differently from the people on the East.
True.
Same thing for people in the Midwest.
True.
So I've learned, I'm a people person and learned the dynamics of playing chess. I watch the board. I go to the conferences. I travel and teach classes all over. I've been to Canada. I've been, I've taught online in Australia. I've did conferences in Africa. So I kind of understand the dynamics of being well-rounded without even processing and thinking about it and where I am in my life now. I understand even I'm learn as you learn, you get a little bit, you learn a little bit from everybody else.
Sure.
And that's what I do. So I soak up stuff like a sponge.
So let's go back. You were born in New York?
I was born and raised in New York. I'm a true New Yorker.
A true New Yorker.
I'm a true New Yorker. I was born in the Bronx.
Oh, wow.
So I'm a true, and people will hear me because they can hear the accent. I can hear my accent kicking in. Uncle Roy will hear it. He go, yeah, you a New Yorker. But when I'm, and I went to college in Atlanta. So when I go to the South, it's like my second home. So even, I've taught down there and then I've just been here. So it is that bi-coastal thing and understanding. And I learned that while I was on the road, because when I was teaching my students and I go, wow, everybody on the East Coast is different. You all act different than people on the West Coast. And what I've realized is I added it to my teaching and said, okay, so this is what they do on the West Coast. This is what they do on the East Coast. So for example, it would be, you never read with commas on the West Coast. They go right through the commas.
Oh, interesting.
We do improv on the West Coast. Nobody does improv on the East Coast.
That's what we need here.
Because right. There used to be a time for slating. So it depends on agency stuff, depending on who you're being represented. I noticed in the South, they were all like, no, we don't slate. We were told not to slate. We just go ahead and we just audition and maybe we might backslate. But it's little stuff like that.
Differences.
That I picked up on my traveling and I'm like, ooh, duly noted. And then I don't know what my colleagues is doing because I'm not nosy.
That's good. You're polite.
Now I'm polite. See him, I just wave hi. I established my own teaching, my own way of thinking with a more approach of being real.
Yeah. How did that come about, though? Like you deciding and discovering that you had a knack for coaching?
I was doing it at the agency and didn't know it because I could tell all of the actors was like, oh my God, who had never booked animation before would come and work with me. And they had been union actors. And I remember a couple of them were like, I booked a cartoon, like a guest role because of you and blah, blah, blah.
So from you being a booth director for these auditions.
Me being a booth director
Gotcha.
And started from there and understanding, because I didn't understand, in my life, I did stuff late in life. So I remember, I have a background in animation production and then a background in casting and then a background at a talent agency. And so when my mentor, who was Charlie Adler, would say, oh, go be a booth director or go work at a talent agency, I was telling him, I said, do you know how old I am? Are we for real? I didn't even know what a booth director was. He said, you're going to learn and you go find out. And so my former agents brought me on because I knew animation really well. And I was like, oh, okay. I was on top shows. I was like, who cares? I worked on top shows and did it. I was like, okay, so I worked on The Simpsons. Okay. I worked on King of the Hill for 3 years. Who cares? I worked on X-Men. I worked on Jackie Chan. Everybody was like, Everett, you worked on all these shows? I was like, even my family members who come will visit, they go, you worked on all these shows? Are you for real? I don't care. But I soaked it up.
Yeah.
I've learned. And so in having a TV background, because I always say I have a TV background because I'm like a ratings junkie. I like to, see who we're competing against.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to learn all aspects because I've also had a background in development too. So I know how to put an animated show together
Oh, wow.
as well and pitch.
Mhm.
So I've,
A lot of
in
experiences.
just doing it, right.
Mhm.
I'm just doing it, not thinking about it, having a good time, but learning the craft.
Mhm.
And so people at the agency was like, hey, you're like coaching. Because they would be, I've had them in the booth and I'm like, you're going to stay, when your parents would say, for some of you who know, you're going to do it till you get it right.
Yeah.
I was one of those people. And all the actors are appreciated. I'm like, no, that sounds terrible. That sounds terrible. Or I'd have a facial expression and they would read my facial
Right.
expression. So sometimes when I'm like, they go, oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
We could tell by your face. I'm like, but I'm smiling. No, it's terrible. We're going to do it again. I'm like,
But that's how you grow. You
mhm.
know, you're pushing people and having them face whatever fears they have inside with performance to get an authentic and not a boring read. Why do you think people default to a boring read?
I think the thing is that they're either they don't know or they're scared or they they're not even some are hungry, but they're not hungry. Like the people I came from are like hungry. You could see it in their face.
Mhm.
Like I can look at people who are gamers. I'm like, you're not animation, but you're a gamer.
Mhm.
You're like, they'll do anything. And I think we've lost that energy and perspective of it. And I don't know if also too, if people are just blowing smoke.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I'm one that's like, I need to see. And I think people are just unsure. They're looking at voiceover as a supplement of another way of getting out of their regular job.
Right.
This is going to help me get out of my job. And I'm like, are you for real? I'm like, are we serious? I'm like, nah. Or, my grandmama told me I had a great voice. I'm like, for real? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a popular one.
Or stuff like that. So I think, in their mind is they're just not clicking or they're not studying because
Right.
this is something that you have to study.
They have a preconceived notion of what it's.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, it's a lot deeper. It's a hustle game. You have to do research. I tell people to watch cartoons. You gotta, it's not networking anymore. It's connecting.
Right.
You gotta connect with people. I tell all the time, you need to connect with these young children who are hungry. I'm not interested in that Comic-Con stuff.
No.
But I just thought about it this morning. But something in my intuition said, you're going to wind up going to one of those Comic-Cons and being on panels. And I'm like, oh no, I can't. I just can't. But it's that aspect. You've got to find people who are hungry, who's going to hire you. You got to learn how to play chess well.
Interesting.
I call it not checkers. It's called chess because you got to maneuver through the system.
Mm-hmm.
And I was one that maneuvered through the system to get to where I am now.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But that's what it is. They need to figure out how do they fit? What do I fit in this? I know I want to do animation, but how do I get to it?
Mm-hmm.
What do I need to do? I've worked with these top casting people. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure you did. But they ain't hiring you.
Right.
You want me to tell you the truth? You want me to tell you a lie?
Right.
Because obviously you ain't knocked them off your socks.
Right.
If they ain't hiring you. And sometimes you've got to work with them 2, 3, 4 times for them to be like, bing, and notice you. It's not necessarily mean that you have to be at a top agency. All of that.
It's not necessary.
It ain't even that deep.
Yeah.
It's not that deep. I've worked at an agency.
Mm-hmm.
What I say to the actor is, who does the agent know?
Yep.
It's like going on a job interview.
Yep.
I'd be an agent, but they might not know anybody.
Right. Their relationships.
So when you auditioning for an agent, you say, hey, who do you know at certain companies that's hiring?
Yep. Yeah.
And stuff like that. They might tell you whatever they tell you, but you've got to figure that out. So you have to have a business sense. And I think that's a lot of people don't have a lot of business sense either.
Well, I think they perceive animation as fun. Yay. I'm going to be on a show and I'm going to do character voices, not realizing how much of a business this is. And animation's like the long game. I mean,
totally a long game.
This is not
totally.
and you have to set the tenacity. You have to have the patience to really, you have to be an actor. You have to do improv. You have to do the things that you're mentioning to make it work. But I think people think it's so easy.
It's this cute voice and it's fun and we're going to, and then what are you going to do when you're in front of an ensemble? Then you're going to freeze up.
Yeah.
Then what are you going to do when it's just you in the booth and it's you and the director? Give me 3 in a row of this. Give me 3 in a row of that. Give me 3 in a row of this. And you're going to sit there and you're not going to even know how to do 3 in a row.
Right.
So it's just, I just smile a lot.
So what advice do you have for people that want to start honing their craft a bit on their own? Is there like a daily thing someone can do?
Salad acting. Go take acting classes, go do improv classes, and go figure out who you are.
That's hard.
Go. Oh, my.
That requires therapy.
Oh, my God. Okay, I didn't want to say the word. I didn't say it. Let's be clear about that. It was processing, but I'm like, I don't say that.
No.
Go for walks, go running, go do something, go jump on a trampoline. Go do something fun to get out of your head.
Mm-hmm.
Go, that's the thing.
Get
all
out
of
of
y'all
your
are
head.
trapped in these bodies that it's like you're traumatized about what went on in your private lives. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you about that.
Right.
But if you're going to get an animation, you have to be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be. And because there's too many people that's out here trying to do the exact same thing, and you got to be competitive. No one is telling you. I went to VO Atlanta and I told everybody at VO Atlanta, went all over everyone's head. And I said specifically, hey, how many actors are in SAG? And Bob Bergen said, roughly about 2,800 or maybe 3,000 or 3,500, whatever. And I said, guys, those are the people you're competing against.
Yep.
They all just was looking at me just like, huh?
Yeah.
I said, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done with this. Mm-hmm.
Now, these techniques and the things you're talking about, though, can be applied to a lot of genres.
Absolutely.
Commercial work, any
Video
kind of
games.
script. Yeah. But,
Mm-hmm.
to loosen yourself, to find who you are.
Mm-hmm. I think the thing is like I said, I think that we're in a society that it's, at least when I was growing up, going and coming and eating and working bills and blah, 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 and they're not having any fun. If your kids are playing video games, allow the kids to go ahead and play video games because you never know.
Right.
They might be game developers. They might be producers. They might be content creators or whatever this words that they're using now.
Do you think
I'm dating myself?
Are video games more accessible for talent to try to?
I think so, because I think the thing is that I see a lot of casting calls on like Twitter. I'm still on Twitter.
You don't call it X.
Or L, whatever. Thank you for clarifying that. I'm sure I'm going to get a laugh from that. He's still calling it Twitter. So, yeah, there's a lot of casting. You also got to hunt for the work.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard people who say to me, hey, I just booked this animation thing, and they're non-union actors.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, oh, you mean you booked a web series? And I go, what is it? It's animation. It's fine. It's still a web series, but that's okay. But at least it's a practice thing. Look at it as practice and homing in on your skills. Because then when you become union, you get the bigger opportunities. And the bigger opportunities also on, preschool stuff, because a lot of the preschool shows are all on the East Coast, with the Nick Juniors and Disney Juniors and stuff like that. So it's that kind of thing. But more and more, from what I understand, more and more animation is coming to the East Coast. Now, I just heard that within a week or two.
Wow. So
I have to double confirm that. But yes, I did hear from somebody. So we're looking into that, which is great because, I understand what's going on in New York. I totally get it, which I'm like, why isn't there a voiceover going on in here?
Yeah.
What's going on over here? So we have to shake some stuff up a little bit. So I'm due for a return to shake that up a little bit, figure out what's going on. Because there should be no reason why,
right.
Stuff happening on the East. And I hear that from a lot of people on the East Coast, that the work is just relatively low. And that's just
Crazy.
That's just basically not acceptable.
No, it's New York. Yeah.
Just New York,
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny also, I'll mention too, is that a lot of New York talent has representation on the West Coast.
Mm.
And a lot of West Coast talent do not have representation on the East Coast.
Interesting.
And I'm saying stuff to actors and I'm going, are you for real? And they're just looking at me. Well, some agents, they have dual.
Right.
They do have that dual partnership. But there is commercial copy on the East Coast that you wouldn't get on the West Coast.
Right.
It's two totally different things, genres, markets.
Now, what about somebody who lives in the middle of America, the Midwest? And they
say that one time.
What about someone who lives in the middle of America in the Midwest?
I mean, listen, you have the option. You have options. You have more, to go to other coasts that you want if you live in middle America, and stuff like that. Y'all have your own specific language. I have a hard time with the Chicago accent. I still haven't quite gotten that Midwest sound. I'm not really a fan of Chicago. But they're trying to get me to go to Chicago. Okay.
To go coach.
I've been there once. But it's a separate language. It's the same thing with Dallas. Two different languages. If you want to do anime, I tell you to go to Dallas.
Oh, interesting.
Because that's what Dallas is known for.
Wow.
They're known for anime. And it's hard to get in to do anime unless you live in Dallas.
It's got to be there.
Because they're like, we want people now to be here. We do anime on the West Coast. There is a little bit of anime that's coming out here on the West Coast. So, you have to do your research. You have to look at all the markets, And if animation doesn't fall in your lap, there's always different genres in character work. There's character work in narration.
Right. There is.
There's character work in all other genres. Audiobooks is character work. Develop those characters. My advice is develop those characters, create yourself a toolbox. Your phones, you take pictures of all your family members, the ones you love, the ones you can't stand, start taking pictures of them too. They're like, why? I hate my uncle and aunt. Oh, I can't stand them. Yeah, but you're going to use them as characters. You're going to need them. So just take a picture with them. They won't. I didn't say you had to, just take the picture, look at the picture.
Yeah.
And then as you're looking at the character, reading the copy, you'll go, oh, and you'll allow those emotions to pour in, but you got to be vulnerable to play.
Yeah, that's the hard part. A lot of people too scared to do that.
Right. So like I said, run, jog, swim, go swimming. You've got to go do a physical sport or something physical. Go rowing,
to get out
ice skating, whatever.
The Atlanta market, is there any type of animation work down there? Any kind of...
There's no animation market in Atlanta, and I don't think they will do it. I think they're only going to do it in New York and LA. The Atlanta market is more known for commercials. I think they got some narration going on out in Georgia. What else is probably audiobooks? I'm sure that's all over the place. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head.
Yeah, because I thought that market was like pretty booming for a bit there as far as like production
It's
goes.
booming for on camera.
Yeah.
A lot of on camera stuff is happening down in Atlanta. That's what's bringing them down there. But now, with the incentives going on across the country too, they stop shooting down there. Everything is starting to get hot.
Yeah.
For on camera people, New Mexico is a new hot spot now.
Oh, wow.
That I know a couple of clients that book on camera work out of New Mexico. I told a client that actually she laughed at me. She said, "Oh my God, you did tell me that, didn't you?" I said, "I told you to go to New Mexico."
Yeah. One of our students, she lives in New Mexico. She does on camera.
Yeah. She just looked at me. I said, I don't know why you're auditioning here in California. Just go to New Mexico.
Wow.
And because she had the facial features. I'm looking at her facial features. And she's just like, what? And sure enough, she told me like a week or two later, she said, "Oh my God, I booked out of New Mexico. I did not just have this I'm not talking to you anymore. I had this conversation with you. So it's stuff like that I do.
Yeah.
I mentor a lot of actors too and stuff like that. I really, I go through a program and I Spit it out to me. Tell me your life. I want to know about the babies you have, grandchildren you have. Spit it all. What have you done? What acting? Who have you studied with? What agencies? I need to get the whole full picture.
Right.
Once I get the whole full picture, then I can navigate you through the system and be like, hey, I just got a couple of people on a couple of rosters from some casting people. A couple of people, they've gone to, agents and stuff like that. It's like, hey, I said, stick with them. They're fine.
Well, you're given the real world perspective because you're out there. You're, studying and working, not studying, but working in various markets to know what's hiring, what isn't hiring, the styles. And I think it's great. Your honesty is what folks need.
I do with a little sense of humor, so I'm a little sarcastic. For those of you on the East Coast, you get the sarcasm.
I know.
You get it. As my cousin would say, you know what? You've been out here a long time. Your personality has not changed. I was like this as a child. So, the West Coast people, they don't sort of kind of get me, but I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. But you have to be, you have to be honest, because here it's like you're spending thousands of dollars on what we do. And so you're going to want people to, and listen, sometimes I do, I don't try to tiptoe, but the facial expression, everybody can read my face really well and go.
You can't hide that.
You can't. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. When I go, I don't know what to tell you. They're like, maybe I need to do something else. I'm like, yeah. And then we find other ways. We find other genres.
Yeah.
And this wasn't my first choice.
Really?
I wanted to work in the entertainment industry and work in TV. I never thought that I would end up in doing cartoons. That was not.
Wow.
And people who know me, if you know me, they're like, yeah, they know what my first choice was. And I was like, I took a second choice and I'm good. I'm good. Now I'm like, I'll advance a little bit more and a little bit more when time permits and producing. And that's when people really going to be stressing me out. I'm like, oh, nope. I's done.
So for folks that are going to sign up for the September 24th class, explain that process. You send people copy in advance, the students in advance.
So what I'm going to do is, when people come to the class, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to listen. I need your websites. I'll look through your Instagram. I'm going to look through your Facebook because I want to get a sense of who you are. And I'm going to cast you. I'm going to ask you to send me one take, and you're going to follow the rules to send me one take and not two takes, as people have done. They try to sneak that in. It's like, and I'm going to call you out because that's what I do best. And then listen to the take. I'm going to play the take for everyone to listen to in the class. Everybody's thing will get listened to. And then I'm going to redirect them to make them sound better. And I'm going to have them record on their end.
So they need to have that capability.
The file, so they'll have it. And since I have the other take, they don't have it or whatever, I'll send them the old take. So they should be able to have an old take and a new take, and they should listen to the difference.
This is after you've coached them with it.
After I've coached them.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
So that way they know, oh, this is how I need to do better. And it's just, sometimes it's just a little tweak here and there.
Right.
Depending on how advanced you are. Or they learn something new about themselves and stuff like that. Nope, don't go in that lower register. Nope, I don't know what you're doing because you're forcing blah, 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 because I can hear it. Or you're putting on a cartoony voice. The thing about, hey, so some people have cartoony voices, but, that's just who they are. I can't change that, but I can make them sound natural and grounded. And then I can also say, here are the shows that you need to, these are the shows that you're going to work on. This is the network. Boom, boom, boom. Because the other networks are not going to hire you because you sound too cartoony.
Interesting.
So I go into a deep dive of each person.
Try to help them find their strength.
Try to help them.
A lot of the folks that listen, obviously, are all over the country. And our students, I should say, are all over the country as well. And we do have a lot of Minnesota, Michigan, and Texas, and Idaho. And, the New York thing, which a lot of people don't love, because it's kind of in your face. I'm trying, and I think I've talked about on the podcast before, that the most pain I've ever felt has been going in front of a casting director who has been brutally honest and very tough with me. And was I sweating it? But I came out so much better as a talent. And it's like, if you can realize it's not personal, this is your performance, this is something you're being critiqued to elevate you to get to the next level, then get that thick skin going and take a class with someone who's actually going to be honest with you, as opposed to that was a great people that are
I mean, the thing too is because my humor is so odd, sarcasm works for me. I'm so sorry. And I don't jab. I might jab you, but because you know me, it'd be a joke because I did jab. But it's like a little jab. It's like going to the doctor and getting a shot, and you don't feel a needle. Well, I do. I don't. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a little jab to get you to, because people, when they're relaxed, you throw a little joke here and there, you throw something that's just odd. They're like, oh my God, that's funny. Now read the copy.
Yeah. Yeah, because you've got them relaxed.
Yeah, and stuff like that. You just got to know when and just, come to have fun. But I've always had the thing of tough love. That's just how, but people who know me, they know they're like, oh, I'm not screaming, but I'm the type that's like, you could read me.
Yeah.
You pretty much read me and understand him like, oh, that's just stuff. That's just who he is. And that took me a long time to develop that too. If I had a mirror in my face,
right.
Looking like, oh, I look like that. Yeah. That's what I used to do. That's what I used to do, when I was at the agency.
Yeah.
Apparently my facial expressions is like death. Everybody's like, oh, you didn't like that. But if they knew that I really liked it, that something about me would lighten up.
Yeah.
My eyes would lighten up. They'll have this big grin. And then they would want to go ahead and do, like a second take. And I'm like, get out. Get out.
You got it.
I'm done. Because we're energy zappers too.
Yes.
A lot of people are energy zappers. So I need to be able to maintain that, energy level. So, and this is not a sugar thing.
Yeah. What do you think is the toughest case you ever had? Toughest actor that was so in their head? Obviously no names, but just, is there someone that stands out?
I'm trying to even think who plucked my nerves. There's so many of them that they plucked that I just, the toughest person. I think it was trying to get into their head, and I don't think they were so up in here that I had to tell them that you have to go do a class. Like I'm like, you have to go do a class because you're not ready for this. Or they just knew they could just read my body language and I was like, ooh,
yeah,
I don't know. This is more tougher than I thought.
Yeah, you're not getting there.
But yeah, like I said, each individual, I can't think of anybody like right off that's like, ooh.
You just couldn't, yeah.
And I've worked with celebrities, which was, I think it's so funny. Ian Zirin from 90210, after we did Godzilla years ago, he's screaming at the agency office because I was on with the agent. Tell Everett to give me a job. I was like, you need to settle down. You need to settle down. So I'm one of those type, what you call it, I usually can figure, a person out, and stuff like that. And if I can't figure it out, it takes me a long time too, that it got towards the, and when I'm in person, oh my God, I'm in person, I'm insane. I'm insane. And I have taken a long time to figure them out, but it'd be at the last minute. And then they look at me like, oh, I was just so nervous. I'm like, oh my God. But I've broken through.
Well, this is why the class is small. That way everyone has enough time. You have enough time to work with everyone.
Yeah. I try to, I'm watching the time. I'm watching them. I'm watching the other students interact. So I'm watching the board as I'm listening and paying attention. I guess I'd be a nosy. Usually I call it being nosy, But I'm really homing in it and really letting them know what's their biggest issue and what's their biggest problem. And then hey, let's work on it. Or I do the same thing. if I can't do it, I send them to somebody that's a fit.
Gotcha.
I get that all the time as well too. They go, actors who I've met, they've come and we've done a consult, they've laid out the whole foundation. I'm like, I know just the person to send to. And then they like, Everett. I'm like, I know. They're like, you sent me the right person. I said, they didn't blow no smoke. They straight shooter. I get that a lot too. I'm not one to be like holding on to. That's because I'm an energy person, so I can't take on so much. I'm like, go to Linda.
Yeah.
Go to just tell Linda, put my name in the subject line. They all know. Oh,
Yeah.
Everett. Oh, okay.
You sent me a really nice talent a couple weeks ago. She joined the community, which was nice.
That I know. Once it hones in and it comes to me, I'm like, go to that person. That person will take care of you. I guarantee you. They're not going to And I do that. Coaches don't realize too. I'm studying them. They don't realize too.
You're
They're doing
studying
job
everyone,
interviews, too.
everything.
Because the thing is, I'm not the type of person that's just, it's all me. And so when people come to me with their issues, and I go right for the thing, so they weren't the right fit for you, right?
Yeah, so true. Well, I'm excited. September 24th, you can come and coach for us online. Yay.
Yeah.
If folks want to check you out, your website is voiceactingdirector.com.
Yes.
Okay, because you obviously consult and you mentor folks. And
I do auditions. I do one-on-one coaching. I have online classes. I travel. I
You're
do
a busy
demos. That's why I'm so tired now.
Well, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming out and explaining the process, and looking forward to having you work with our students as well. Thank you, Everett.
You're welcome. I'm excited. I'm totally excited.
That wraps up another episode of the Voiceover Gurus podcast. Head over to voiceover.guru or our community, which I'm always blabbing on about, but I love it so much. It's my baby. Join the community. It is free, and you will find out about all the classes, workouts, about us, you name it. Everybody, have a great rest of your day.